I sure hope there weren't any mistakes in that episode, but we'll find out when my mom, Mrs. Monica, comes in and tells us what was wrong. Burberry?
That's correct.
That's correct. Only wear Burberry to swim. That's a Jay-Z line. Oh. That's when you know you've made it, when you only wear Burberry to swim.
I don't. I wear it for fact checks.
Oh, yeah. Looks stunning.
Thank you.
Are you noticing anything?
About you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're growing your beard out.
Okay, great, sure. Or maybe back out. I just blow dried my hair. Blow dried?
Wow, okay.
What do you think?
It looks nice.
A lot of volume.
It looks fluffy.
Yeah, I got out of the shower and I was like, what if we put a little mousse in our hair and then hair dry it?
Oh my God.
And here we are.
Because 50.
No, I think New Year.
Okay, that's great.
Stagnation.
Sure, you want to mix it up.
Yeah.
Do you think a little bit of this potentially has to do with, we had a guest in who has like really fluffy hair?
No, but it is slightly impacted by the guest we're going to have after this fact check.
Okay.
Which he is such an eclectic.
Very.
This won't sound like a compliment, but it is.
Okay. One of your classic compliments.
One of my classic compliments that has you feeling terrible afterwards. Whatever the most exotic lizard is, right? That's rough. But
that's bad.
With the colorful,
he's just cool.
Maybe
you go with some original words like cool.
And he knows this. He's also dangerous. He's like Snake in the Garden of Eden. He already, in that, so much Easter eggs happening right now, but we're going to talk about that. He's dangerous.
Oh, I'm excited for that. I like a little danger.
But he's dangerous and colorful. So if you can think of another, I don't want to use unicorn because unicorns are for babies.
And you don't like unicorns.
Right.
Except you do.
I love them. I love to call everyone a unicorn.
Yeah.
But that's another thing I got to stop. I got to start blow drying my hair and I got to stop using unicorn.
Your contradictions.
Yeah.
Dangerous but colorful is like a flamingo because I think
You think they're dangerous?
you. Yeah, I do think they're actually hidden danger.
You can just snap any part of them in half. They're
very tall.
Exactly. They're so tall and not robust.
Well, that's your privilege because you're tall so you could snap, but I'm too short. I wouldn't be able to reach.
Totally disagree. I would put you in the running back category. Ding, ding, ding.
Thank you.
Detroit Lions, we'll get there.
Yeah.
No, you were low and powerful, so you would smash into those flamingos' little dainty toothpick / chopstick legs.
Okay.
And it'd be, no one wants to know this, but it would be.
No, this is like 2 fact checks in a row. We've been like.
Animal cruelty. True. But no, I need something a little more dangerous, but also radiant and beautiful and colorful. So I'm thinking with some of those lizards, they get pissed and they start walking on their back legs and they got their arms out and then
funny.
Their mantles out. They flare out their big parachute around their neck and it's full of colors.
What about peacocks? Are they mean?
No, these are birds.
Are you sure you know?
If you're going to use a bird, we use a predator bird.
Those aren't colorful on purpose because they're trying to blend in.
Right.
I feel that I'm drawn to birds, not in life, but in pictures.
Okay, sure.
I have a big photograph in my apartment of a woman. She has a cage on her head, but the bird is free.
What does that metaphor mean?
Oh, it's deep.
It is? It's locked in the cage of your own mind?
It's like golden cage a little bit, but the bird is free.
Golden handcuffs.
Also, I almost bought this other piece of art, not Anne Mansour, new lady.
Okay.
And it was also a woman with a bird. And I like immediately DM'd and was trying to get it.
Yeah.
And then I thought, how many things with birds can I have?
Yeah, because now it's probably about to pass the many, many self-images you have that my children have generated and that Kristen's generated, right? Because you have a lot of, as we know, photos of yourself, art of yourself.
Well, I'm not in these.
We talked about that, though. Is it like, would it freak someone out who came over?
Okay, there's a picture that Lincoln painted of me when she was like 5 or 6. She was really young.
And Kristen
painted a picture of me for Secret Turkey.
And she made a figurine of you.
Yep.
And
with big boobs.
And then Lincoln also made a big boob figurine, as I recall.
Oh, okay. I only have one.
Okay.
I think I have the one Lincoln made.
Okay.
And it's in a drawer.
So no one would see that unless they were...
I mean, I want people to see it, but it invites a lot of questions.
Which could be helpful. In the right context.
Circumstance.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Maybe if I get on the apps, which I probably won't, but if I do, maybe that could be my little picture.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. And so I have a little mystery too, but it's also being very obvious.
Yeah, you're also leaning in.
The
witness a little bit.
But those other ones aren't hung up. I am going to display definitely Lincoln's.
Yeah.
That's less
playful.
About me. Yeah.
They're all not about you.
Right.
In your defense.
Yeah. I didn't ask for them.
But we did ask the question, what would be critical mass, where even if they're not about you, someone might go, my Lord, this person has like 30 or 40 pieces of art depicting her.
I'm not doing that.
Even these famous artists, they tend to only do 1 or 2 self-portraits, as I recall. Right?
Yeah. Also the mouth. I mean, that's why I also have this space. I've put some of my art of me here.
Yeah. Well, that's right. So there's all that art too. And then there's the armchair art.
Yeah,
which we have a lot of.
We do, but that lives in our workspace. That feels fine.
Right.
That feels fine.
Real quick question. If you were a great artist, do you think you would do self-portraits, and how many would you do? Like, I guess I'm delighted Van Gogh did a self-portrait because there were no cameras around.
Right.
So my only idea of what he looks like is what he drew of himself.
Yeah, but it's probably so inaccurate. Like if I did a self-portrait.
Well, that would be great. If you were a really, really talented artist and you could actually show us exactly what you see.
Yeah.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee it would be super off. Crickets are out.
Oh, yay. I mean, you're a good artist, so you could do a self-portrait.
Aren't they all those monsters I draw? I think those are all secretly self-portraits.
It's also a little like, that's how you're going to spend your time drawing yourself?
Yeah, but you're always there, right? If you need a model for something, it's like all you need is a mirror and you're...
That's true.
And you're sketchy.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to do that.
Okay, should we dive into the heartbreak?
Yeah, let's hear about it.
So, went to the game.
The Lions game.
The Lions playoff game against the Commanders.
Yeah.
And if I'm listing a top 10 experiences with my best friend Aaron Weekly, this is making the list. We were so beside ourselves that we were down on the field at the Lions. I had the singular goal of standing next to Dan Campbell, the coach.
Right.
In hopes I could get a sense of just how big he is, because I see him on TV. I also looked him up and it says 6'5".
Oh, wow.
But these football players are they're all a little bit embellished.
Okay.
Because they were coming out of college and they're entering the draft and they want to seem as big and as enormous. So it's always like if you see 6'5", probably 6'3.5".
Okay.
I'm just gonna guess there's a standard 1.5 inch fluff.
Yeah.
So I was just hoping to stand next to him. So Keegan Michael Key's there.
Which friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod and the ultimate Detroiter. And I don't even pretend to be as authentic and committed to the Lions as he is. It's his life.
Okay, great.
So I'm a bit of a poser, but I'm as excited as anyone, so that counts.
Yeah.
So he knows everybody, as you might expect. So he introduces me to Martha Ford. Do you know who Martha Ford is?
Martha?
Martha Ford. Martha Ford.
Oh, no.
Rob, will you look up her age while I'm chatting?
She's 99.
99. Monica, I have to tell you, of all the things, I mean, she's tied with Dan Campbell. So she, if I am to believe Aaron, was the daughter of the Firestone Tire dynasty.
Oh, okay.
Married Henry Ford's son.
Wow. Is she hot?
I'll get there.
Okay.
They own the Lions, which I wasn't even positive I knew. The Ford family owns the Lions.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They own the Ford Field, the arena. Martha rolls in on a golf cart and she gets out. Next thing you know, I'm meeting her. She's so tiny.
Yeah, I bet.
I loved her immediately because she's so tiny. She has a walker.
What color hair does she have?
White.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah. I think once you're 99, your standard hair is white.
Yeah, but you might dye it.
Not Martha.
Oh, good for her.
She is such a spitfire. So they get us to line up. The team photographer is going to take a picture of us. And Martha has a walker. She's 99. And we're about to take the picture and she goes, "Get this out of here." She chucked her walker. She didn't want that walker fucking anywhere near this photo. And I was like, I love her.
Yeah.
I'll be standing for this and I don't want any evidence of this walker.
Oh, I love that.
Fun. When I was shaking, I shook her hand for a very long time because I loved holding it. It was like shaking hands with Delta.
Oh.
It was the tiniest little hand, and she was so sweet.
Oh.
And I felt like I was in history.
Yeah.
Married Henry Ford's son.
That is wild.
That feels like from another eon.
Yeah, it does.
Then I start talking to Dan Campbell's wife by chance.
What color hair?
Brownish.
Okay.
From Dallas. Super fun. And before I know it, she's turning her attention away from me because Dan Campbell has walked out of the locker room. He walks directly up to her and gives her the longest kiss.
That's nice.
It was so nice.
Cute.
I was like, oh my God, I just love this whole thing. Then she introduces me to him. I'm shaking his hand. I'm very excited to be shaking his hand and saying things. I'm not even sure what I was saying. You know, oh, sure. And
did you hope he would kiss you?
Well, I'll get to that.
Oh my God.
So it's some chit chat. And then he gets distracted. And then he's talking to Keegan. And then he's going to carry on. And he gives Keegan a huge hug. And I'm like, I'm going to... Well, even worse, I'm like, I'm going to hug him goodbye.
Oh.
I'm really afraid to say this because I'm afraid some Lions fans are going to blame me that this hug jinxed everything.
No.
And by the way, I did think it in my head for a couple hours. I started feeling really guilty. Like I shouldn't have.
Did you?
But I was like, all right, yeah, great meeting you. And I just got to make it very obvious. I want to hug. And he hugs me.
He obliges.
And Monica, it was like hugging a water buffalo.
What do you mean? I need more.
He is so big.
Like squishy?
No. His lats are like this wide. His neck is like, this wide.
Right.
For the listener, I'm holding my hands very far apart.
Yeah.
He is, I don't think he's 6'5". It's a little bit like Toto. He's taller than me.
Toto is 6'9".
In
my heart.
Same. But he's definitely taller than me. Let's just say that. And he is just like hugging a redwood.
Were you like this? Like you couldn't get your arms?
That's what I thought I was, but then I saw a video of it.
Oh, okay.
All right. I just loved it. I hugged him. I felt his lats. They were so big.
Yeah.
I wanted him to throw me on the ground, kind of.
Sure.
Which is interesting. Yeah. I just kind of wanted to feel his power a little bit.
Yeah, I get it.
But he was so nice. He's such a nice man.
Yeah.
He got emotional on the post-game thing. I don't know if you saw that.
No,
it was very sweet.
I didn't watch.
Yeah, I think he's a vulnerable boy.
Oh.
I'm beaming like I'm 8 years old. Aaron is so excited.
Yeah.
He took a couple pictures. He goes, I took a couple pictures. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad you took some pictures.
Yeah.
I go, they look like a little baby next to him. And Aaron goes, you guys look like twins.
Twins? So he's not, wait, I'm confused now.
You should be. I'm not nearly as big as him, but my son is such a sweet boy.
Oh, he was making.
He was basically saying you guys were almost identical twins.
Let me look up this person. Hold on.
Do you just want to see a picture of me hugging him?
Yeah.
So you can get a sense of what I'm talking about?
Okay. Wow. Okay. For the listener who doesn't know.
Dan Campbell. It's everything I'm saying, right?
No, I'm about to say the actual opposite. The way you describe him is not accurate. Okay. I'm imagining I can't do this well. So
you were picturing like a monster from Game of Thrones, like the Hound or something,
but not muscular, really.
Oh no, he was this guy's safety,
extremely muscular.
Oh, he's the most muscular.
But when you say water buffalo, you have to understand what people imagine.
Water buffaloes are pure muscle. That's why it's a great comp.
It's not. Anyway, he's hot for the listener. This man is very attractive and he's not what Dax explained. And he does look really tall and
insanely
very
fat, right?
Muscular and fit.
Yeah.
And a very handsome face.
He looks like he could just run right through a cinder block wall. I don't want to know because I think he's younger than me, which would be a bummer, but I think probably true.
Not much.
Not much?
Yeah, not much.
Okay, that helps. How old is he?
48.
48. Whew, okay.
April birthday.
Oh, here we go. Rob's kind of got it.
Look, I'm not here to make you feel.
Okay. First of all, there we are together.
Yeah. Look, I see what Aaron's saying.
And Aaron, I have the advantage that Aaron's behind me, so I'm closer to Aaron than look at this.
Aww.
Oh, look at his back, Monica. Look at the fucking width of his back and how tiny my hand looks on it.
Well,
actually, that's not my hand. That's Keegan's.
Oh my God, you were. Oh.
That's a lot of beef right there. Mm.
This is so stupid.
I know. Anyone who watches football has a crush on Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
He's like the Rock of NFL. Mm-hmm. Okay. Ben Johnson. Oh, that's a heartbreaker. I don't want to talk about that.
Why?
We lost our offensive coordinator, right? Offensive coordinator.
I thought you meant he died or something.
No, the Lions offensive coordinator is now coaching the Bears.
Bears took him.
Oh, this guy is attractive. Yeah.
Dan Campbell.
No, we already established he was.
Okay.
Now this new guy is also very attractive, and he is 38.
Okay, that is just a few months older than you.
Correct.
Oh my God, what if you were dating him and I was dating Dan Campbell? We could go to the drive-in.
We'd be rivals.
Well, now, because of Rob, because he's with the Bears.
Well, if I'm dating him.
But if he was still at the Lions, we'd both be rooting for the Lions.
Oh, this guy was at the Lions?
Yes, he was the offensive coordinator.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so it'd work out perfectly. We could go to the games together and sit in the box and cheer for our boyfriends.
That'd be fun. That would be really fun.
Just like Taylor, your best friend.
Yeah, how fun. Okay, wait. Real quick, you're not letting me get a compliment out. I agree with Aaron in that picture. You guys do look similar.
God bless you. God bless you. If you hugged him, you would know we're not terribly similar, but I'm delighted that that's your verdict. Thank you.
Now you know what it's like to be me. Like when I hug big men.
Charlie.
Yeah. It has a very specific feel.
Do you like it or I like it? Do you like the feeling
of being small
and safe?
Yes.
That's what I'm getting at. Like I'm hugging this guy and I'm like, oh, wow, I'm good. If whatever runs up behind us, a rhinoceros or whatever, like it's on him. It's his job.
Wow. And that's very unlike you.
Exactly. It's a unique feeling for me to be being held by a man that is so much more powerful and big than me that I know he should handle the grizzly bear when it comes through the door.
And do you not feel that with Aaron?
Aaron, I feel this perfect equanimity. Like I'm a wrestler. He's a puncher. Right. Together, we're great. We're a duo. Mm-hmm. I totally feel safe around Aaron. I know that like I don't need to worry about what's behind me. I know that Aaron's always looking out for me. I know Aaron that would jump through fire for me.
Yeah.
I think he feels that way about me. So yeah, when I'm with him, and this has been since 7th grade, I feel so safe all the time.
Yeah.
He'll do anything to protect me and vice versa. But if a rhino comes through the door, Aaron and I got to team up on it. I'm not like, Aaron, go handle this. But if Dan Campbell was there, I'd be like, Dan, you're up.
You would?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Wow. That's a first. I've not heard you say that about anyone.
Hence my giddiness.
You like getting into it.
I like being the guy that confronts the rhino, but also it feels very nice.
That's great.
To feel very safe that Campbell would be the one that would handle it.
Pin in this, I want to circle back to something, but.
Okay, great. Pin in the safety?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. So fast forwarding, got to be on the field when they ran out. That was incredible. Met Will Ford's son. It was just very fun to meet the Ford family. Chatted with a lot of different people. And then we were in the box with Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell is the NFL commissioner.
Okay.
And has been for a long time. And just to put, I know it's terrible to quantify it this way, but it made me recognize how esteemed the job is. His previous contract is $70 million a year.
Woo.
And he just signed another 3-year contract. No one even knows what it is. But when you're paying someone more than Lewis Hamilton, I feel like you've got a pretty important job. All this info is coming from Aaron because he knows way more about football than I do. So Roger, people don't like him.
Oh.
I think it's the nature of the job.
Sure. Yeah, no one ever likes the commissioner.
No one ever likes the commissioner.
Oh, that's why they have to pay you a lot.
Probably. But I'm not entering with that kind of baggage. Right. I don't dislike him or like him. I just am flattered he wanted us in his suite. I think largely because of that Golden Globes thing.
Oh.
I left one thing out. Before I went up to the suite, they played a video on the big screen of me watching the Golden Globe, watching the Lions game at the Golden Globes, and then cut to, and I had to wave and all that.
Oh, cute. That is like McConaughey. Good
Big
job.
time. And I've been in that situation several times at Lakers games and these different games. They'll put me on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
And it's at best, I would say it's in the past, it's like a C+. Like I feel like generally maybe 30% of the Lakers crowd will know it's me and be excited.
Okay.
Because of that Golden Globes thing. It was legit. You know how I've always said I'm always envious of that experience the American Idol people get where they go to their hometown and they're in a convertible. I didn't think that would ever happen to me. And I'm like, when does that happen? That it happened.
Oh.
They showed that thing. They cut to me and the place legitimately went bananas.
Oh, that's wild.
It was almost hard to accept, but
yeah,
it was
that's sweet.
It was unbelievably lovely. I felt so loved by my people. Then Goodell, Roger, he was immediately most engaging with Aaron.
Who wouldn't
asking Aaron a ton of questions, really engaging him, talking to me, but like he's not playing the status game. There's a lot of people in
love that.
Fucking Barry Sanders is in the box. He's the most famous Lions player of all time and the best player of all time and the best running back in history. He's in the thing. Roger could be chatting him up. He's talking to Aaron.
I love him.
Yes, he is and Aaron's like, I was anticipating that I would have to see my way out of conversations while you did your thing with the person who got us the tickets. And I was like, oh, this guy wants to chat with me, which he did. He's so down to earth and he was so lovely and hyper intelligent. And you can see why he's.
How old is he?
65. Because
still good.
I did make one joke that got him. We were talking about the thing I talked about on the previous fact check, where it's like, you used to be younger than the players. Now you're older than them, but you're younger than the coaches.
Yep.
Now I'm older than the coaches, and I hope to be younger than the owners. Thank God Martha's with us, 99.
Thank God.
I have a yeah. And he and I were talking about that, and I said, well, how old are you? And he goes, 65. And I go, well, you look fucking great, which is true. He's very fit and looks great. Yeah, look up.
Oh, he looks great. Yep.
And I go, you look fucking great. You're definitely going to make it to 70.
Oh.
And that really tickled him.
That's fun.
Okay, so as you can see, we were on fire. We were screaming. We were meeting people we idolize. It was the two of us. We're from down the road in a dirt road. And it was really, really fulfilling and beautiful. And I was sharing it with Aaron. And it was so special.
Yay.
Fighting back the tears the whole time. And the game starts. It's rough right from the get-go. We cannot get a stop. They score every time they get it. Luckily, we score every time we get it. Our offense is great. And it just goes downhill. And it gets worse and worse and worse. And the crowd gets quieter and quieter and quieter. And I start thinking it's completely my fault because I haven't been to a game.
And you hugged.
And I hugged Dan. I'm sincerely regretting hugging Dan Campbell.
I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
But I think all fans do this. Carly thinks that the two games they lost this season was because Lola, her dog, didn't have her Detroit Lions bandana on.
People do this. Now you understand my knocking on wood.
I do. I was taking a lot of the blame for it.
Sorry. It's not your fault.
But I was also refusing to let the outcome take away what a fun season it's been, and then this crazy experience with Aaron that was as good as it could possibly get.
Good. Remember when I thought that Trump won because my ring was off my finger?
Yeah.
And you said, you're not that powerful.
I kept telling myself.
You said it in a nicer way, but you did say that.
I was saying to myself to try to get myself out of the dumps.
Yeah.
You don't have any control over the defense. It'd be great if you did.
Not that powerful.
You're not that powerful. But I was afraid other people would think I was that powerful.
Sure. We'll tell them now. Here, you're not.
I'm not sure if it's not my. I'm only like 70%. It's not my fault.
That's how I feel about Trump.
Yeah.
I still feel it. I still feel like potentially it was the ring and the bee.
I feel like that's very universal. Rob, do you blame yourself when your team loses?
Yeah, I've got lots of superstitions when I'm watching.
Yeah, or remember Rob Reiner was on. He said he went to the bathroom. They scored, and then so he had to keep going to the bathroom.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert.
if you dare. We are supported by Allstate. Allstate partnered with Armchair Expert to be the presenting sponsor of this episode, so thank you, Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first.
Like, to check if you have a full tank of gas before you go out on a road trip. You just know that.
Yes, or to check yourself in the mirror to make sure there's nothing in your teeth first before you start recording a video ad.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Do I have anything in my teeth?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
Like, you have to check your breath before you have a first kiss.
Sure, cup and blow and sniff.
Also, you have to check to make sure your clothes aren't on inside out before you put them on. Oh. I do.
Or upside down. Check to see if there's some paste on your brush before you start brushing your teeth. They're simple things. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. This content is intended for audiences in the U.S. only. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois. Okay, you wanted to earmark safety.
Yes, I did. So this is a big pivot, but it did remind me that while you were at the game, I had therapy.
Oh, okay.
I had 2 big epiphanies.
You did? Would you call them breakthroughs?
Yes.
Okay.
Guided by my incredible...
Your spiritual advisor?
Yes, she really is worth her money.
Okay, great. Especially because you were a little bit on the fence on the New Year's about whether you're going to continue on.
Well, yeah, I was like, maybe I just go to once a month. And now I'm like, I got to go back to 2 times a week. So the fires, it was the first time I'd seen her since then.
Yeah.
And first of all, January sucks. I'm going to say that just like as a fact.
Yeah.
January is the worst month of the year. It's horrible. Bad things happen.
Jan 1 is when I had norovirus yakking for 8 hours. Okay, I'm kind of on board. The Lions lost. Go continue.
3 out of the 5 last Januaries have been horrendous.
Oh, yeah, I got it. You're saying across the board, January blows.
Januaries are bad.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry that your birthday's in there, but it's a bad month.
Weather generally sucks.
Yeah, weather sucks. People die. Like, things go up in flames, literally. It's bad. But I do think they've all taught me something. I walked into February with new information. It's been a gloomy January for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
And I was talking to her about that. Obviously, for the fires, we were fine, right? We didn't have to evacuate. Our houses are okay.
Yeah. We have the best version of it.
Exactly. So lucky. But still, it's just been like, oh my God, there's so much loss everywhere, every day. You're hearing about somebody else who lost everything, and you're trying to figure out how to help. And it's just overwhelming. So I kind of figured it was just that. I was like, I think I'm just overwhelmed by everything going on. Then we kind of got to that it was, I think, more than that and more personal. And I think people who are sort of struggling through this here who didn't have massive loss but are still down.
Yeah.
Because I know a couple people who are depressed who aren't normally. I'm surprised.
Oh.
And I realized that in the moment, especially in the moment when you're packing your bag up,
mm-hmm.
and you're panicked because you're I might have to be out of here in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You're standing in your house or apartment or whatever, and you are faced with the 2 most deepest, most existential questions that we have.
Yeah.
Which are, who do you really have?
Uh-huh.
And what do you really need?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And it's both at the exact same time.
Yeah.
In a moment of panic, you have to know the answer.
Yeah.
And I think we walk around with so much false security about those questions. We think we know, or it's fine. But this is push comes to shove. What's your reality?
Yeah.
And
the rubber meets the road in a evacuation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're forced to ask those questions and the answer is, I don't know, it's very heavy.
Unsettling.
It's very unsettling
Disruptive.
And destabilizing and you feel untethered.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely what I am feeling and what I think other people might be feeling too. It's just going to take some time to process.
Yeah.
But I found that helpful to know, like, oh, that's what I'm sort of struggling with.
Right.
It's a deeper, it's
well,
much
because
deeper.
You can't work on future natural disasters as a cure, right? You can only work on the things that actually emerged in that situation.
Yeah.
That are personal.
Yeah. Also, she told me, and this was also fascinating, is in times of true crisis, and this also happens like in death, people become their truest, like most base version of themselves.
Right.
And like not the person they've worked on becoming or are mostly, but who they are at their core.
Yeah.
And it's so true. I was thinking about who I was and who other people were in my life and what was happening. It
kind of is what I was bringing up about, like, we do have this genetic wiring to fulfill a role that when it happens, that thing really goes to the front and center.
Yeah.
Is it related to that or no?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's connected.
I think you're almost your genetics take over.
Yeah.
Not the artifice of your identity.
But I don't know if it's genetic so much as, yes, but also what you did when you were a kid, how you coped, how you, like, a lot of, like, your biggest fears, your insecurities, those things come to the forefront and they're leading the charge. Like, they are the thing that comes out. It's wild.
And this is one of the times where having a high ACE score is like really nice. Because you've done a bunch of these. You know, I've done a bunch of police are at the house and fire departments at the house. But
you're still a person. You're still a person in there. You still have a personality.
But I have a lot of practice, like submersion therapy, which is like, we're going to Dad's in the middle of the night. You live there now. That's disruptive. And then in 6th grade's fun. You know, like I have a ton of personal experience where it's like, I lived on the other side of those.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people that have been terrified a bunch of different times, one of the only benefits is like, you're like, oh yeah, here's another thing.
Yeah.
And it'll be all right.
Yes. I think there's like two things happening. One is like what you're doing, right? And then the other is what you're thinking, who you are in those moments. Like it's different, right? Like we talked about this before, where it was sort of the first time I had to be like, I have to do everything. I have to figure out what I'm taking. I have to load it in the car. I have to make sure I have this, and this. Things I normally just say, like, whoever I'm with is going to do half of that stuff.
Right.
And so I'm doing it, but what's coming up and who I am in it and what I'm thinking is like,
I'm alone.
I have nobody. I am abandoned. I am really all I have is myself. I'm scared.
Yeah.
First and foremost, like I'm scared. I'm a fearful person.
Yeah.
And I have overcome a lot of that in life, but not in this circumstance. I can't.
Right.
So it's like, it's at a 10.
Well, you've probably just been ratcheting up what level for you is manageable over time as you've grown, right?
Yeah.
Like panic attacks and Soul Cycle versus now, there is a threshold that you've kept moving up. You can handle it and such and such.
Yeah.
And then, some things exceed that threshold.
Yes. And it also was, I think, important for me to have understanding for how everyone's behaving. Like, everyone is going to behave quite differently because we're all different and had much different life experiences and deal with trauma in very, very, very different ways.
Yep.
Because like on Tuesday night, the first night when it was starting, I was like, texting with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even know. I don't know what to do. I don't know how do we, Callie and I were both like, well, yeah, we don't know what to do here. Like, where do we go? What do we do? We were also like kind of joking.
Of course.
And then I was also texting with Jess. And in my head, I was like, well, Jess is down the street. So like that's easy. We'll go. And then at like 9, I start looking at the other fire, the Eaton fire, and it is getting like bigger and bigger. And I called him and he was asleep. And I was like, oh my God, how can you possibly go to sleep right now? Like, this is crazy. Yeah. And then I was like, yeah, I think that's who he is in crisis. He like really calm, but to almost like whatever happens. Disassociated.
Yeah,
whatever happens is going to happen. I can't really control it. So I'm just going to go to bed.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Potentially dangerous, but this just happened, right? It happened with Tom Hansen. I was, to be vague intentionally, I was very much on the verge of blowing everything up in a very public way because of my anger towards something. Mm-hmm. And I ended up sharing about it in a meeting that he was at. Mm-hmm. In that share, he learns of the timeline. So then he calls me the next day because he's my dad and he wants to help me. Yeah. And I don't call him back. And I don't call him back for 3 days. And finally on the third day, he's like, what the fuck's going on? Why won't you call me back? And I finally FaceTime him and I go, I didn't want to talk to you because I didn't want to hear the right answer. I didn't want the right answer. And I know you have the right answer. Yeah. And so I was avoiding you because I wasn't there. I still wanted to torch everything. Yeah. And I didn't want to be talked down. And I apologize, but I just, so in that way, I think we often call people that we want to confirm the answer we're looking for, right? I do it. I know people call me. If someone wants to buy a motorcycle, they don't call their doctor, they call me.
Well, of course, but that's because that's your expertise.
Well, and they know like I'm pro motorcycle, right? Yeah. So I'm curious in that same construct, when you start texting people, do you feel that you start texting other people that you know will also be really nervous and not texting people that you know are going to tell you it's not bad?
That's a good question.
The dangerous part is like what didn't happen was you didn't text me.
Yes, I didn't.
And you knew it wasn't going to go well if you did, which is fair.
Correct.
And we invited you over and you didn't want to be around my energy, which would have been probably rough.
There were multiple things there was so much happening then that is more complicated.
Okay. But back to, do you think that's happening at all? Are you calling the people that are going to most reassure you? Or are they going to call the people that are going to confirm it's as scary and dangerous as you feel like it is?
That's a good question. I mean, I guess I'm probably reaching out to people that will confirm, but more I'm especially in this case, I know for certain that you aren't panicked about this, right?
Right.
So
yes.
Me reaching out to you, all I would have been
going to be frustrating, probably.
All I would have said is like, I'm really scared.
Yeah.
And then I think my fear then is if you respond without compassion,
right,
that will upset me.
Yeah.
So what's the point, right? Like I know where you stand on it, and I'm
because
not sure.
I know what I would have done. I've been like, first of all, you will not die because you can get in your car and drive away from this fire, right? Like I'd start going through the reasons that let's just start with you're not going to die tonight, you're not going to die tomorrow. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And if your car doesn't start, you call me, I'll pick you up. Yeah. You're not going to die. Yeah. That would be like my first goal is just go like, there's a lot of things on the table here. Yeah, you might lose your shit. You might lose this beautiful house you've been building forever. Like we might get to that, but I would have just wanted to start with like, this isn't a tsunami and we live on the.
No, I know.
You know, like we can escape this. Right. Yeah.
Which would have been helpful, I'm sure, but I don't know in that moment. What is out of 10 is I'm alone. Right. So I don't think, like, all I was really trying to do subconsciously is confirm that I'm not. Right. Or that I am. Get some validation or confirmation. Yeah. And so I don't know. I mean, the range of people that I was texting wasn't all panic. Again, just slept. So I was like, okay.
Yeah. Well, there's probably two things going on. There's like a logistical call list. Yeah. And then there's a comfort call list. Yeah. And yeah, I probably would have been bad at it. I would have gone straight into what I do often and try to avoid, but still keep doing, which is like not observe you, but try to fix the anxiety.
Right.
I would be trying to point out, we are not going to die tonight. You know, I would be bad at going, yeah, like I wouldn't be good at.
Yeah, which is, you don't need to be good at meeting me at anxious. Like, I don't think that's good.
I saw some people, I'll just leave it at that. Mm-hmm. And when I saw them, this was on Thursday morning, mm-hmm. the look on both of their faces was, and I registered, oh, fuck, their house burnt down.
But it didn't.
It didn't.
Yeah. But maybe they were sitting with some of these things.
I'm not at all shaming anyone for how they dealt with it, but I went, oh my God, clearly their house is gone. And it wasn't. So then I think the primitive side of me goes, we can't have this. It's not productive. We are actually in a situation and there is not room for that. So snap into survival mode.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I think I can tend to get frustrated in that situation that I think certain people are making things worse.
Yeah.
In an already bad situation.
Yes, I do think you.
And that was definitely the vibe of my household, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's.
And I think I know that.
Yeah.
About you. And sometimes that is where we butt heads because I feel like I should, it's okay for me to care.
To be scared.
And scared and whatever. And
you have no more control over your reaction than I have over mine.
Exactly.
I think all of those things would have been true if we were heavily interacting during all that.
Yeah.
And I accept it all. And I cause a lot of that.
Well, but
the only thing the thing I need to say out loud that I hope you didn't feel is I would not be judging you or thinking you're stupid.
I don't think
if there was any part of you
stupid.
That's afraid to tell me how you feel because I'm going to be judgmental of it, that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't have happened. And I don't feel that way. I do get pragmatic about if everyone's bawling before we've got in the car, that's going to be a really hard, right?
Totally. But
I'm not angry at anyone for having their emotions or judgmental of it. I recognize and accept it and I don't feel above it.
But do you think, and whatever answer's right, my guess is you think I overreact a lot. In general, as a person.
See, it's the over that makes it a judgment.
Right.
Can I observe that you and I break 4 ribs, break my clavicle into 5 pieces, break my hand, break my humerus, drive home 6 hours, go ride 2 more sessions on the track, drive home 5-6 hours, go to sleep, don't go to the doctor, don't go to the following day. Mm-hmm. So that's how I react to things. And then when you cut your hand, you were very scared and you reached out to a lot of people. So do I recognize the humongous delta between how you and I react to things? I absolutely do. But it's not over and I'm not under. This is how Dax reacts for a myriad of reasons.
Yeah.
And this is how Monica reacts for a myriad of reasons.
Right.
And so that's the thing I wanted to bring up and make sure you're crystal clear on. I'm not saying overreact. I'm saying I see how you react to things. I can observe it. It's much different than how I react to things.
Yeah.
But that does not make me conclude I'm better.
I feel that you think that I get upset over things. Well, I do. I get upset over things that you don't get upset over.
Yeah.
To me, that's fine.
Yeah,
the things I get upset over, I believe are upsetting. I think it's okay to be upset about those things. And I understand that you don't. I do think at one point in our long friendship, I was like, why aren't you upset about this? Uh-huh. I used to be like that towards you. I don't understand why you're not upset about this. This is upsetting.
Yeah.
I don't think that anymore at all. And I respect that you don't, but I I wonder if...
Well, we can go right at it. There's a lot of things on the table here.
Yeah.
Do I accept that about you? Yes. Does it make me love you less? No. Does it make me not want to be friends with you? Absolutely not. Now, you and I also do a job together.
Yeah.
We sit down in here to do a fact check, and I sit down on a couch and I look across to see you.
Yeah.
And often you're upset about things like the election, and you can't shake it when you're in here. So now, do I think inside of this box, we have to be entertaining and we have to kind of manage how much of a downer we are? I do, professionally.
Right.
I think we have an obligation. Like the newscasters got to come on and they can't start crying during the thing. Now they can feel however they want throughout the whole day. Go ahead.
Well, it's just very subjective. Like you cry and people come in here and they cry and they're allowed. And it's actually to me, it's an asset, not crying, but what we've built here. And I do think we have built here a place of honesty.
Yeah.
And to come in and to plaster a smile when I'm scared or there's fires or there's an election that I think is deeply disturbing to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying we need to like wallow in it, but I think it would be such a disservice, not just to me, to this show, to our audience, to what we've built here, to pretend like those things aren't upsetting. Like,
it's fine if we have a bit of a difference of opinion on that. I do think this show has to be entertaining. And I don't think either of us can be in a shit mood for 4 weeks. I think we have an obligation to rise above that. I do. And we differ in that. And I understand what you're saying. Like, well, this is honestly me. And of course, I'm not trying to make someone not be honestly them. But I know if I'm listening to Howard Stern and Robin, and one of them is just in a dark hole for 3 weeks, I have compassion for them, but I'm going to go listen to something else at some point. I can't join someone on my hour drive where I'm trying to distract myself from the things I'm worrying about. I'm looking for a reprieve. So I think it's okay. We do have different opinions on what obligation we have here to a degree. And I think there is room for us to be our real selves. Yeah. But I also think it needs to be monitored, and we have to be responsible to do these people that rely on us for an escape deserve something fun and funny a lot of the time.
I get that.
We did a really good job at that, I think.
Yeah. Anyway.
Do you think we did a good job at that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're running low on time.
Facts.
Yeah, we have facts. Okay, so this is and I guess it's timely that we talked about the fires and stuff because this is for Josh Gad.
Gad. Wonderful.
We deep dived.
Yes. He's a perfect guest.
He really is. I DM'd him and said so.
Oh, good. Yeah. He's funny. He's smart. He's emotional. He's truthful.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a soup to nuts. Same with Adam Scott. I was really delighted with the Adam Scott episode. Really, really delighted.
Sweetheart. Okay. Josh Gad, you can gift up to $18,000 tax-free, but now it's $19,000.
Great news.
Great news for everyone. You said your grandparents took you to Scarface in 1981 on opening day and you were 6 and it was 83.
Not as good of a story.
Well, 8 is still young.
It's still young, but it's not a great story.
But you know what? We already know that you wouldn't remember it if it was 6. So it actually makes more sense that you were 8.
It does. Well, here comes the great thing. And this is on topic because he's written a memoir.
Yeah.
I have tons of memories. And I know my kids don't remember shit. So, of course, I'm quite skeptical of them. But I could take a polygraph.
Well, yeah, because you believe it. So you'll pass it. I know. Every time someone says now, and I feel bad, but when people say like, oh, yeah, I was 3 and I remember, I'm like, you don't.
But okay, I'm reading Bill Gates' book right now.
Oh, he might because his brain.
I believe it.
Yeah, but his brain's different than most people's. So speaking of Easter egg, I guess we can talk about this later, maybe if you want.
Okay.
Have you started telepathy tapes?
No, what is that? I saw that in the comments.
It's a podcast.
Okay.
About neurodivergent, mainly nonverbal autism.
Oh, Kristen listened to it.
Yes, she did. Most of the girls are listening to it in our group. And nonverbal autism, a lot of people have stories about their children
communicating telepathically over a distance of miles, in a town, meeting at a place called Mind Mountain or something where they
haven't got there yet, but also they mainly with their parents. It's often. I mean, I'm only one episode in. I do think the human brain
has more potential than we're aware of.
Than we'll ever know.
Yep.
And I kind of do think anything is possible.
Yeah.
For the brain.
I overheard a lot of it. I was debating whether or not to listen to it.
Yeah.
I asked a friend that we very much trust, you and I, an incredibly smart friend.
Yeah. He says there's little science to back any of that up.
Yeah. And that'll be so hurtful to the people who have experienced this, and maybe they've experienced it, whatever. But I would need a pretty robust bit of science behind it to believe that people are telepathically communicating over miles. It's a tough one for me.
I don't know about the over miles because I'm not there. Well, someone said something really interesting about it. They were like, we've all in some ways communicated telepathically, non-verbally, to people we are very hyper connected to.
Sure.
And just in a room, we can feel energy shifting. There's real.
But would you agree? I think that's way more pattern recognition. So I know you so well. I've observed now so many contexts where things happen and then I see the result of it.
Yeah.
So often we're at a dinner and I hear someone say something and I know in a second what you're going to think. And then I look over at your face and then you look at me and I confirm, oh yeah, I do know exactly. And vice versa.
Yeah. But
that to me is more pattern recognition. Stimulus A generally results in output B.
But don't you think even when we're sitting here, I'm sitting there next to you. You can't see my face.
Yeah.
But
I can feel the fuck out of your energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And vice versa. I do too.
But I can't actually hear your thoughts.
I know, but I think that's a little rigid, I think.
Okay.
Because all I'm trying to say is I think people do communicate non-verbally a lot and we don't even really recognize it.
Yes.
And I do think people are on a scale of how attuned they are to other people's energies. And it depends on the person, definitely.
Yep.
And so I don't know. I'm open to that being the truth.
Let me just say, I want that to be the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love the notion that these nonverbal kids are communicating telepathically. I actually want that.
Me too.
But I have such a knee jerk about getting duped.
Yes.
I know there's an emotional thread to this that makes it a little bit, and that is a red flag to me. It's yes, I think when you get me emotionally involved and I am very sympathetic already to the subjects.
Yeah.
I'm not really in my most subjective mind anymore,
Yeah. Remember the woman we had on
about hiring more neurodivergent people?
Yes. She herself is neurodivergent.
Yes.
And remember, she has synesthesia. She could just pull the meaning from a book from basically staring at the pages. She does have skills that just
boggle the mind.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Marine Dune.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marine Dune.
That's all very interesting.
Yes.
And I don't know why I brought that up. There was memories, maybe? Memories. Wrote about memories. Okay, real quick. He said the funniest person he ever worked with was Andrew Reynolds, minus us.
Present company excluded.
Exactly, but we have not worked with him. So then it brought up this interesting question.
Although you could count us doing an episode with him.
I don't count that.
That's our work. And his work is promoting.
I don't count it.
It's a stretch.
Then that brought up this interesting philosophical question that's in my book, Intermezzo. There's a really interesting question that comes up in this book I'm reading that's sort of similar to this of what's truth and what's a lie. And we'll talk about it next week. I'll bring it up.
Okay, great. Yeah, read
it's
it
kind of a riddle.
Do the thing from the book exact.
Okay, I will. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, GLP-1s, that was a really interesting topic and conversation, I thought. I was happy he talked about it.
Yeah, me too.
But also, they're just they're finding so much interesting stuff about GLP-1s. And I'm interested.
I'd say 10% of Eric and I's conversations are about GLP-1s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really wild.
Very
I
fascinating.
kind of want to try it.
Oh, wow.
Not for weight
wine?
loss. No, not for weight. Yeah, not even for. I just want to see, like, what does it do on my psyche?
Yeah, Eric's the exact same. Like,
Yeah.
there's no shift other than he doesn't eat as much.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't crave sugar.
And
so he's not in a shitty mood because he hasn't eaten 10 pounds of sugar. So it's like, it does impact his mood, but not because it's changing his mood, but because he's not actually dealing with all the fallout from.
Interesting.
Yeah. Again, it sounds all great, but beneficial to me.
It might highlight what your addictions are. Because if you stop wanting something, it might tell you, like, actually, you crave that a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So that's it.
All right. I rode my bike by your house today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Did you wave?
Yeah. Love you.
Love you.